Hi and welcome to this webinar. My name is Bjørn. I'm with Columbus as the practice lead for manufacturing. And today's topic is Microsoft Ignite 2021. Another digital event. To us, Microsoft Ignite is kind of like Christmas Eve. It's really where we kind of gather information and inspiration from Microsoft, which is one of our major, or the major technology partner of Columbus for our solutions. So again, with me, I have Henrik. Hi, Henrik.
Hi, thanks for having me here, Bjørn.
Welcome.
Exciting to be here today. I'm a senior consulting in our data analytics department. And in my daily work, I work with a lot of our customers with advising them, supporting them in getting more data-driven in their daily work. So it's really exciting, and I'm also working with you, Bjørn, together in our manufacturing vertical as we have here in Columbus, where we are actually trying to do some exploring and maybe also investigating in new technologies that actually is coming that are relevant for our manufacturing customers.
Yeah, exactly. And for this, Ignite is kind of it's one of the top events of the year, so to speak, to get inspired. And again, a digital event. I think you had some stats on the number of participants.
Yeah, exactly. It was quite interesting actually to see, because normally, this event is actually for 25,000 people going to maybe to Florida. Florida is nice as well.
It is definitely.
But being here in Denmark today and also seeing how many people actually participated in this Ignite event, it was like 250,000 people participating. So that also gives some opportunities actually to see that this Ignite is actually getting more broader. And also, that we are talking with our customers that are actually participating in this event.
Exactly, exactly. So basically, we had, I think the keynote outlined 3+3 trends, so to speak. 3 overarching business trends and 3 technology trends. And I think all of them were very interesting and also very much in line with what we see as kind of major trends at our customers. So basically to list them. So the first major trend is this hybrid work. A lot of this driven by this still present COVID-19 situation, So basically Microsoft Teams as the center of collaboration, where more and more apps are kind of directly embedded into Teams, and also kind of, mixed reality as a mainstream technology. I think that's actually because last year we focused a lot on mixed reality and it was still, a bit spacey. But we see this as an increasingly mainstream technology.
Yeah, and actually we see it actually in more customer cases as well in the mainstream market. So,
exactly. And this just to mention one detailed thing that has been released was this D365 guides, where you create the interactive guides, now has the features of Microsoft Remote Assist to also call. So when you're executing your work, you can actually call directly from the work step to whoever is to assist you in this.
Exactly.
And it's kind of, it's
getting more smoother and smoother.
It's getting smoother and smoother, and also more and more adapted to how real life on the production floor is actually. If you look at, there are some very nice cases, also presented. I think there was a case from a Toyota plant, which was, I think, very interesting in that. So hybrid work and the whole situation there is definitely a topic. And then another it's hyper-connected businesses, and that's. It's not in any way new, but maybe the focus has kind of shifted towards this hyper-connected business. And what does that mean in the interpretation of Microsoft?
Yeah, that's exactly. You could see that, especially in this COVID-19 days, where this actually getting more and more in focus, actually, because you need actually to open up to interact with your maybe suppliers and
exactly
to have maybe on the supply chain, which we are going to talk about a little bit later.
We are. We're going to dive deeper into this topic here of hyper-connected businesses and see what the interpretation of Microsoft is and which services are developed and offered in the market to kind of support this. Again, it's not really collaboration. It's not new, and EDI has been there for years, stuff like that. But it's more this kind of the packaged approach and the trust element there to share data on a level that is more granular.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the last major business trend there kind of it comes from the two others, because if your work is hybrid and online, and if your business is connected, then you need security to kind of protect that ever-increasing flow of data.
Exactly, that is so essential. And we talked about it last year also, where we presented like this formula. Satay, the CEO at Microsoft, presented this actually formula where he presented that the trust element that is one of the most
this tech intensity formula that you might remember. It's still there.
It's still there, yeah. And,
So these are kind of the overarching business trends, and then we also, in the keynote also three technology trends or whatever was kind of mentioned as another dimension to this, and these are AI and everything.
Yeah, exactly. You could say AI and everything, and also that perspective actually that we are experiencing in our department here in data and analytics, where you actually our customers actually looking more and more proactive than reactive.
Yeah.
And that's also a shift from years back, I would say. So that's really interesting.
There was an interesting point there of, the actions that you take. Right now it's 1/3 proactive and 2/3 reactive. And it's kind of, the argument there was that there will be a shift.
Yeah, in 2025 or something, it will switch the other way around.
Yeah.
So it's
so to have 2/3 of your actions being actually proactive, you need a completely new level of infusion of intelligence in the processes, and that's what's kind of labeled as ambient intelligence. So it's intelligence in everything.
Yeah.
And later we'll have our director of data science, Ben Ryan. He'll come in and try to put some details on this, how it is that we actually see this, because as you also mentioned,
it's a focus area.
It's a focus area for us, and we see it kind of growing at our customers. This whole thing. So AI and everything, ambient intelligence. Then another interesting technology trend is what was known as identity management, and it's kind of, with all of these platforms moving around, and you need kind of a unified identity to avoid all this logging in and out and stuff like that. It's also something that Microsoft is focusing on. And then the last technology trends, which was mentioned, which is definitely the most, I would say, spacey
one, yes.
Yeah.
At first sight, we actually laughed a little bit about it, because it was kind of spacey. This
this metaverse, which is basically a digital twin of reality, where the idea, digital twin, where you have data flowing in and creating virtual models of reality. But here it's kind of, the thought is that you have a digital twin of everything, of this very room, of the production floor with machines and all of that, supply chain, everything, where you can also move around as an avatar and meet each other in this virtual space. So it's kind of, this is spacey, but when you think of it, it's the reality in many, let's say, in the gaming world. And
exactly. I think it's origin from the gaming world, actually. Yeah. And again, at first sight, I looked at this as saying, okay, is this business oriented? This kind of avatar in a virtual world. I know my children is playing in this virtual, in their gaming, but is this business related?
Yeah.
But then at next side, I actually look into it, and I gave it some thought, actually, and it really makes sense, actually, because especially here in these COVID-19 days, where we are working a lot from home and remote and etc.
Yeah.
And
So it's really, and also, you know, with the shift in the workforce, you know, with more and more digital natives coming into the workforce, you know, to them it's not necessarily natural. It's natural to act as an avatar also in your business interactions, which for us, I guess, older guys it's maybe funny. We have to get used to it, you know. But it's kind of, you know, it's kind of coming alongside the shift in generations in the workforce.
Yeah. And one perspective of that, now we are talking here in analytics and manufacturing, is also, if we look at it from a manufacturing perspective, you could actually see that maybe you're not only looking at your production floor, you could actually be virtually on your production floor together with, for instance, some of your suppliers and customers, or factory tour with your customers virtually.
Yeah, because you know, we're still in the mixed reality. What can I say? The right now situation is that it's basically you have the mixed reality and you can see what your customer is seeing or whatever, and be on the floor. But you're not yet there in person. But you can be there in person.
You can be there in person, and you can interact with the person, right? Seeing his human reactions and etc. And also one cool thing that I actually also discovered in this keynote was this transcript. You actually get transcripted in your avatar, so you can actually see.
Yeah, so it's you can say the perspective is actually that it's in-person presence, but it's just with an added layer, so it becomes even better because you can actually interact, communicate in your natural language. Exactly. So it's the perspectives are there, and that's basically all that's what Ignite is all about, you know, getting. Of course, information on where we are right now and what will be coming in the next month, but also get to know the direction and get inspired for where we can take this. So that's great. Yeah. Okay, but that was a bit about, you know, the overarching topics of Ignite. We took then the liberty of selecting 4 topics to deep dive into, and we can maybe take a look at those. So basically, we'll be deep diving into what can you say, a topic called insights apps, and these are the kind of the packaged services that is offered. We'll get into that later, and then sustainability, which is again another. It could have been a 4th business trend there because it's just exploded, you know.
Totally exploded. Yeah.
For many reasons, the focus on sustainability. We'll see what Microsoft is kind of planning to deploy there. We'll also dig into some of the new features in Power Platform. Yeah. As you know, Power Platform is all the combining of your Power Apps and your Power BI and Power Automate actually also as a component. So it's really interesting. Also an interesting thing actually to look at together with our customers. Exactly. And then lastly, we'll together with Ben Ryan, we'll dig into AI and advanced analytics. So we'll have a what can I say? I guess you can say a true expert calling in there and helping us kind of put these trends into perspective, and also mention a bit around where we are, because it's an area, I guess, where we in Columbus are seeing a huge wave actually for the moment. Actually, again, we are really seeing this growing. I don't know. We have hired a lot of new people in here to actually work with these elements, and we are just seeing this growing as our customers getting more, you could say, proactive in their actions and using their data actually more proactive than reactive. Exactly. So it's a real growth area, and we'll have Ben talk into that and some of that. Okay, but let's get started on the details here, and basically the insights apps. We've selected the supply chain insights, you know, as an example. It was one of the major new releases announced on Ignite. It's not generally available yet. It's in a public preview, meaning that you can request an access to this supply chain insights.
And we did that immediately.
Yeah, exactly. We did that immediately when it was released.
Yeah.
And it's, supply chain insights is kind of seen as a component in this broader hat called cloud for manufacturing, that Microsoft is kind of using as an umbrella term, but also as kind of a way into deploying services that can actually support you in the manufacturing industry. So cloud for manufacturing is not generally available either yet, but we kind of know where we're going. So you have a set, what can I say, a unified view of applications and extensions.
Services, and also for ISV providers
exactly.
to tap into this cloud environment.
So Microsoft has a close cooperation with I think it was 11 technology partners which are providing solutions and then deploy it within this framework of cloud for manufacturing so that you have third-party solutions, for instance, for CPQ or for PLM or whatever you have. So very, very nice. And what can you say, the main new component that was announced on Ignite as part of this cloud for manufacturing was supply chain insights. And what is it that actually encompasses this supply chain insights?
Yeah, but it's really interesting because actually it's an out-of-the-box solution where you have it's actually consists of or built on actually the Power Platform, on the Azure platform. And what you get out of it actually is you get an out-of-the-box solution that you actually could work with both with against your supplier, but also internally in your to actually get a view of your complete supply chain. And one of the elements that was very, very interesting actually in this part was really that they had a feature where you could actually open up against your supplier.
Exactly.
And of course that will bring some new trust element into it.
It will.
Because if you look back in the past, it wasn't really, you could say, you have your own business and then you had supplier has their own business, but you didn't really have real insight and interactive with their actually products and etc. So
it's basically kind of, the thought here is that you have a unified data model that comes out of this open data initiative, the Dataverse, the Dataverse platform. And this unified data model enables you to share data on a much more granular level, than you have previously. Of course, EDI, where you can kind of exchange information, but it's you need advanced provider and you need mapping and stuff like that. Here, the thought is that if you have a unified data model, you can easily share much more detailed data, and add an IoT element to this, and you're basically through the supply chain sharing information about, let's say, the state of operation on your production line or a specific machine, and that data you're sharing directly with your customers or maybe your customers' customers through this, enabling a whole new level of connectedness.
And you're not, as you're saying, when you have this common data model, you're not tied to a specific ERP system.
Exactly.
It's actually an open framework. So that makes it very interesting, and it's also one of the key elements to actually being able to do this kind of thing. Actually.
But again, the key word is trust then, because if you need another level of trust in between with your suppliers, for instance, and customers to kind of enter into a true partnership when you share data on this level, so to speak. So that's a sharing part. I think the thought behind supply chain insights is that it comes with out-of-the-box connectors.
Yes.
So you can connect to ERP platforms and warehouse management platforms, CRM, whatever you have there of data sources, so to speak. But that's just one of the connection elements. So the other connection element is actually kind of towards providers of risk-relevant information.
Exactly, external data, weather information, etc. That actually complies with or affect your supply chain.
Exactly.
As we have seen also in many cases, actually flooding or something like that.
Exactly.
Would maybe affect your business or location in an affected area.
Exactly. And by mixing up this data, you could say, out of the box, you create, and then infusing it with AI, so to speak, you create a very, I think, the demos that we have seen has been very operational, so to speak, and we have a couple of screenshots for you as well on you know what it kind of what it does for you, and it looks very rich, the UI, and enables, you can say, S and OP on a different level, I would say, because you infuse AI and you have this risk element directly in the. And on a very detailed level, kind of down to which order and which product is actually affected by this.
Components, sub-components, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and you could actually, and what's also is driving this, they have like something called a product map, actually, where you see this, where you could drill down to the components, sub-components, and actually see how they are affected by you changing something in your, or affected in your supply chain setup.
And it's kind of, some of these features, with supply chain planning and stuff like that has traditionally been either something that you made yourself, or it's been tied to the ERP system, a specific ERP system, so to speak. In D365 we have some of these features, but they're tied to the specific ERP system. And the reality in a lot of companies, either by intent or by what can you say, the nature of an evolving business, is that you have a multi-tier set up with multiple ERP solutions. You know?
Exactly.
And with this, again, with these connectors, you should be able to match it together and have this what can I say, unified view of your supply chain. So it's very promising, and I think this is going to be.
It's going to be. I think. The key part is the trust, because if you are not able to actually interact and open up against your supplier, then you might not being able to get the benefit out of it.
Exactly.
But if you are, and I think actually the situation today with after the COVID-19 days here, you're actually seeing that, okay, if you need to actually react in a matter of time, you need actually be able to react very, you could say, dynamically.
Exactly.
When the world changes around you. So it's, and also you could say the ship in the Suez.
And you can see that we all,
I guess, the supply chain, right?
Exactly. Everyone sees supply chain disruptions these days, so to speak, and kind of this is pushing us towards solutions. And one of the solutions is to be more open.
Exactly.
So, but again, it's about the trust, it's about having the data. And then if you kind of open up with this, these solutions are kind of increasingly there. So that was supply chain insights.
If I could only add one small thing is that you also have the simulation part.
Yeah.
Because that's a very important thing, I think, because in that simulation part, you could actually simulate if something happened to this, or if some of these risks actually take place, or these events actually take place, what are the effect of your complete supply chain?
Yeah.
So I think the what-if simulation powered by AI, of course,
exactly,
they're interesting in this supply chain insight as well.
Exactly. So very, and we'll be looking deeper into supply chain insights definitely once we get our hands on this pre-release.
We're looking forward.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, but another topic that's really hot these days from a business perspective is the sustainability, and for that we have actually also seen, and I think that solution is further in the deployment, isn't it? It is actually deployable, this supply chain. This sustainability cloud.
Yeah, it's something that we could actually. It's in public preview. You could actually go in and have a look at it actually, and try to see how it works and how it could support your business.
Exactly. So again, it's kind of from a technical perspective, the solution is a bit similar, I would say, to supply chain insights. It's basically a solution core. It's connectors, and then it's an analytics and reporting layer. For cloud for sustainability, the focus is to report on emissions, I guess. And I think what we're seeing, and I guess all of you must be aware, is that the demand for insights into the CO2 emissions generated by any product is kind of increasing. It's increasing from customer demand, but also from regulatory government initiatives and stuff like that. And here in the EU, we have the Sustainable Product Initiative, which will, I guess, soon drip off some directives, basically enforcing some reporting requirements on new segments of products. So
they're actually talking about this digital product passport.
Exactly.
There are some requirements on the product that you need to actually, in terms of sustainability, you need to actually be able to deliver when you are actually producing a product.
Exactly, so, and again, for a manufacturer, it's not just the, gaining the information from a supplier, but you also need to take into account the emissions generated from your own processes, the emissions generated from electricity generation, like these phase scope 1 and 2 emissions, but also the scope 3 emissions, where you kind of gather data from your suppliers on the emissions of this product. And I think Microsoft Cloud for Sustainability is kind of designed around this ever increasing need for getting an overview of the CO2 emissions in your company.
Yeah, and I think this is getting really interesting, because we are working with some of our customers already today about reporting on this on their SDG goals and etc.
Yeah,
and I think what we are seeing here is that, first of all, it's not a thing only for large companies any longer. It's actually everyone that is actually involved in this process, from the smallest SMV to actually to a large enterprise company.
Yeah.
And also, but what really struggling, what we are feeling, or what we are seeing actually, our customers is struggling a little bit with, is getting the data.
Yeah.
Also actually getting the data, because there are so many input where you actually need to get your data from, and how to actually structure in the right manner, how to do the actually calculation and etc.
Yeah.
That's really difficult,
or
could be difficult, and that's actually some that is coming out of the box with this sustainable cloud, actually, that you have some pre-built connectors, as we saw in this supply chain insight. And you also have some predefined calculations, so these emissions are actually you're able to calculate them in a pretty easy way, actually.
And that's basically what we are. I meant to ask you, Henrik, is this, all of this sustainability discussion is kind of, we have a tendency of maybe seeing it as a cost, It's all, what does it cost us to do this and that, and all of this is kind of cumbersome to report. But is there also a business opportunity for
it is, it is actually a business, because at first sight, again, a lot of our customers think of this as a cost, because you need to have reflect on new regulation, etc. You need to put some effort in actually to get this kind of data out and to be able to report them. But actually, what we are seeing is that there's a lot of business opportunity in it, because the customers are looking at it. They want the business to be sustainable, and also, of course, the demands from investors and etc. So it is really a business opportunity.
Exactly. And all the way back to the design, where we kind of see this tendency of eco-design, or designing product for sustainability, kind of, as a fourth dimension next to cost, quality, and time to market. It's really, what can I say? It's really gaining traction. This and the thing is, that as I see it, it's one of the places where customer demand and regulatory requirements has kind of, moved very fast. So a lot of the applications used to support these things today does not really have the feasibility to do this, and that's where a thing like Cloud for Sustainability comes in, I think, handy, because it'll be hopefully a new tool in the toolbox to kind of solve these requirements. Yeah. So that was a bit about cloud for sustainability. We talked about supply chain insights. What else do we have on the agenda here, Henry?
Yeah, there was so many topics, but we had to select some of them, of course. And one key area was actually this Power Platform.
Yeah.
And then actually there was also some quite interesting thing announced at the Power Platform. I would say one of the most exciting things in the Power Platform was this process advisor, process mining, actually.
Yeah, process mining. Because in Columbus we're very focused on business processes. Our solutions are very centered, on supporting business processes. And then we hear a word like process mining. It's just like seeing the golden city.
Exactly.
But what is process mining actually in this context here?
It's actually how you see it is actually that you actually get some data from your system. You are able to actually record these event logs, for instance, and then you could use this process event logs actually to design or actually to see a flow of your whole process actually, and then you could mine down to the separate, for instance, if you have a supply chain, you could mine down to the different elements actually.
Yeah.
To see actually how long does it take from moving one good to one place to another and etc.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that was kind of this is kind of cross application. So that if task mining is what you do inside an application, typically we would do this inside an ERP platform or whatever. Here it's kind of a cross-platform business process that you record, and then you have some analytics elements to kind of show you which are the problematic element in this particular process.
Yeah, exactly. And then you could actually, when you have recorded your process and actually see where you actually have the bottlenecks, you could actually do some actions also directly. So
exactly. And there was this nice exactly. There was this nice case, where in some place in the process in one business unit, they deployed this customer deployed a new Power App. To it could be a QC registration or whatever. You used to do it on paper, now you do it, or you used to log into a separate system, and now you do it in a Power App, and basically to record the same process in different business units that had different levels of support. You kind of see, okay, is it worth
implementing this in this plant or in this plant?
So it kind of gives you a new set of tools to evaluate business cases also proactively. Sometimes say you run a pilot of implementing some application or an integration or a Power App or whatever it is, and then you run this process mining tool, and then you analyze the impact, and hopefully there's a business case. You might also well have a result that there's not a business case.
Exactly, but you will be able to actually go from the recording process to actually process mining and the result very quickly. Actually.
Exactly.
And that, because that is that is normally something that is could be a little bit complex actually, to measure this, and now you are actually able to also to incorporate with your ERP system, getting event logs and creating these events to actually to see inside your data and use your data intelligent.
Exactly. So it's this being able to be much more informed around the business processes that runs in your company, kind of, and utilizing the data that you generate, because it's kind of you generate all. This is what can I say? This should be true value creation. There should be true value creation from actually looking at your processes and figuring out, based on facts, not assumptions, where you have the issues. So it's What else did we have?
You're talking about data and could bring me on to the next big topic, which actually was this Purview. Purview is a pretty new tool from Microsoft. But it's actually a very interesting tool. What a Purview is actually a data governance tool. And what it could provide in this example, what they announced there at Ignite was really to also have this integration with Power BI. So you could actually see an end-to-end flow saying, okay, these KPI you're measuring on your Power BI report, do they actually origin from? Where's the data that is feeding into our KPI?
Yeah.
And in that way, you could actually measure your, you could say, your data asset in your company, and that's very interesting, I think.
Yeah, I guess because I asked you yesterday, to be honest, I asked you yesterday, what on earth is purview? And you made a nice explanation. And also, you know, especially in a manufacturing company, you generate enormous amounts of data, so to speak, from your manufacturing processes and the business systems and whatever. And I think the key word that you kind of said to me, with purview, you can actually see whether it's worth generating that data.
Yeah.
And
yeah, exactly at that point, because what we are seeing is that as a company, you're generating more and more data. More and more data is getting from different sources, IoT devices, streaming data, and data, of course, from your ERP system and other things.
Yeah, and
what really makes value, actually, what kind of data makes value? And if it doesn't make value inside your decision making, is it worth keeping them?
Exactly. And it's kind of, you know, it is, I guess it's a pretty important decision. So this being a data-driven company, to also make sure that you generate the right data instead of just generating enormous amounts of data that is not used. And that's what I have understood that you can do with this purview, is that you can actually, from even a Power BI visual or whatever, you can backtrace this and see, okay, does it feed into, and does it make sense, and does it make value? Yeah. And then you can kind of say, okay, do we need to generate it, or maybe it is generated, but then we don't need to keep it, or maybe I guess you can also the other way around, kind of identify areas where you are missing some data to kind of make
makes sense. Exactly. Okay. But I think that is actually something that we will see a lot from our customers going forward. Actually, to be able to you could say, set value on your data asset. Yeah. So that would be interesting to follow. And these were kind of the two subtopics on the Power Platform that we kind of selected for you, but there's tons of news actually in there, and it's so I can only kind of recommend that you take a look on some of these sessions. I think they should still be accessible actually, these sessions. The sessions are still accessible, so yeah, I would say especially there are some good sessions, for instance, if many of you are using Power BI, there are some quite interesting news also on that. And, Okay, and that brings us on, you could say, to our final topic here of the details, namely AI and advanced analytics. And for that, we've kind of called for help. And good friend. A good friend, our director. Hi, Ben. Nice to see you. We're kind of looking for your avatar here in the studio, but it's not here. It's not here. So we'll have to do the normal remote call. But nice to see you anyway. So ambient intelligence, Ben, AI and everything, is that the case these days? Is that what you see as well?
Well, as an AI enthusiast, I certainly had a lot to watch and be excited about in this conference. Virtually every new announcement in development has some AI component. But I think there were two that really got me excited: Azure OpenAI Service and Azure Percept. The OpenAI service brings state-of-the-art natural language processing and language generation to end users in a simple and scalable form, and the capabilities are really revolutionary. So not only does this deliver improved translation, classification, and text analysis tools, but amazingly, it can help generate language in really surprising ways. Most notably, with the Copilot capability, you can give it a description of what you want to do, and it will write a program in computer code that actually does it. Microsoft has also previously announced that some of these capabilities will be integrated in Power Apps, so they've got you covered from writing code to no code. This set of tools has some powerful use cases across industries, and manufacturing is going to be no exception. But Azure Percept may be even more directly relevant there. Azure Percept brings AI capabilities to edge devices, embedding computer vision and audio analysis in mobile devices. This allows us to perform advanced AI tasks without needing to refer back to cloud-based models or resources. So that reduces cloud and network consumption and improves latency and response time. It can also be essential for situations where devices need to operate offline or where sensitive data can't be transmitted off-site for analysis for any reason. So for manufacturers, you can be using AI on the factory floor or in distribution, monitoring for problems and regulating the production process, or in the home office, managing and automating business processes. So, and of course, you already mentioned the new supply chain insight solution. So this is very exciting development and obviously just at the right time. Supply chain optimization is an area that can be very difficult for humans to get right because of the complexity and huge number of variables and moving parts. But with AI and machine learning, we can beat that complexity. So, right now, supply chain disruptions are hitting everyone all over the world. And this is a situation where AI and machine learning solutions can be a huge help. On the one hand, we can use these systems to better understand where the vulnerabilities or uncertainties in our supply chains are, using sensitivity analysis to simulate how and when things might break down as different inputs change. We can also adapt things quickly by applying new constraints or requirements to our optimization algorithm and rerunning it, so quickly producing new optimal plans. I think Microsoft's Sustainability Cloud initiative dovetails perfectly here too. So sometimes these are seen as opposing goals, optimizing profits or costs versus investing in sustainability or social impact. But I think these actually align more often than not. As we reduce our carbon footprint, we're reducing inefficiency and energy expenditures. So what I find really interesting here is the possibility to use the data curated and aggregated through this service to feed those models or algorithms that can help optimize operations and business processes. So we can target lower carbon emissions specifically in addition to our other goals. So yes, I guess that's a long way of saying that now AI really does seem to be in everything. And we seem to be moving toward that era of ambient intelligence that we've been hearing so much about.
Okay, great. Thanks to Ben, live from our Stockholm office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was kind of the conclusion of our walkthrough here, but maybe we should kind of wrap it all up with mentioning our favorites. And Henrik, what of all these sessions, or all these topics, what's your favorite? What's the kind of most promising thing that you have seen?
So many. First of all, there are so many good things, I think, and that's what we are often seeing with these Ignite sessions. But I'm kind of a practical guy also, so I really like this Sustainability Cloud because it is actually something that is very close to really many of our customers right now.
Yeah.
And it's actually something that they could actually pretty soon get started on and actually get some good value from it. So I think it's looked very promising, the first actually Sustainability Cloud offering at Microsoft. So So I would say that was pretty much my favorite. What is your favorite?
Yeah, I think, in these days with the supply chain disruption being on the top of mind of almost all manufacturing companies, everyone has had kind of bad experience, I think, with this whole supply chain insights approach, where we kind of, try to, or where Microsoft tries to kind of package these solutions so that they are out of the box deployable. Of course, we still have this trust element that is required, and it's kind of, but we're kind of getting pushed there. So to have easier access to, true S&OP that is infused with artificial intelligence, I think this is extremely promising. So that was for me a kind of, the main highlight of this. And then, of course, in the context of this Microsoft Cloud for manufacturing, where you have easy access to curated applications and extensions, it's kind of, that's very promising. So I guess we'll wrap it up. And thanks to everyone watching. Very nice to be presenting for you. And I guess we'll be back from next year with Ignite 2022. Let's see whether it's an online event or whether we'll have to go there in person. Exactly. So thanks to everyone and have a nice day.